Hello and welcome back to the Make It Happen podcast. If you are new here, then hello, my name is Melanie Moreno and I am the host and creator of the Make It Happen podcast. I'm big on finding out how others tick. I really love learning about people and what drives them, how they have discovered their sense of self, all that good stuff. That makes up a big theme that you can find me having conversations about here, as well as over on my blog, melmakesithappen.com. There I share more along these lines with insightful messages and lessons from my own personal development journey. Most recently, I also launched Self-Worth Coaching, which is where I'm taking on clients who want to shed the beliefs, limiting them from being true to themselves. We get to the root issues and work to shift your mindset into an empowered one so that you can better show up in the world as the most authentic version of yourself. You can find links to this and everything I mention in this episode in the show notes below. Now on to this episode. Today we are chatting with Cris Lopez, who is making his second appearance on the podcast. If you didn't catch his first one, then he shared about his multicultural upbringing and living in Saudi Arabia. It was a few episodes back, but you probably should go listen to that one first if you want to get briefed on who Cris is. If you didn't already listen, of course, but you guys are dedicated listeners, so I know you listen in order, right? Anyway, I'll have that linked in the show notes again if you want to check that out. Otherwise, today's episode happens to be more of a conversation on the nature of relationships in your early 20s and also simply how relationships exist right now during the pandemic. I remember noticing a big change in relationships when I graduated high school, and naturally relationships have just continued changing since then. There's an age difference between Cris and I, so I think that helps illuminate the values that we place in a relationship. So it's interesting to see how some things change generationally, but there is a lot that we all value, things we have in common, like having friends who respect us or being comfortable enough to be ourselves. Cris also talks about how hookup culture has affected dating, which is kind of a mess to navigate if you are someone who dates with the hope of getting into a relationship. I love that we can have conversations about things like this, which might seem a little bit mundane, but they're also major aspects of our lives. Friendships, romantic relationships. I mean, if you're in your early 20s, you can likely relate. And if you are any older, then this episode is a cool way to just think about your own approach to relationships, and maybe you can understand how this feels. Maybe this is stuff you're going through, because age does not matter. We all go through the same experiences in one shape or form at different times. Time is irrelevant. I think this is a really good episode. I hope you guys enjoy it. Let's welcome Cris Lopez to the Make It Happen podcast. Take 2. Do you like having something to do during these times? Like, is that motivating or does it drain you?
No, for me, it's motivating. I can be draining sometimes, but I'm the kind of guy that likes to stay busy. I don't like to not do something for a long amount of time. Like, if anything, I'll relax on the sofa, the couch in my room for like an hour, maybe 2 the most. Then I'm like, okay, I got to do something. I got to go work, or I got to clean. I got to meet up with my friends, go skateboard, do something. because I cannot stay in one spot for a long amount of time. I just can't. I'm the kind of guy that likes to just keep moving. I have to keep moving.
I get that. I feel very similarly.
Oh
Yeah.
no, I've seen your content. Like I've seen your posts and everything. So I know like you're still out there. You're still working, and your content is good. Like I like content. It's motivational. It's
Thanks.
motivational and inspiring.
Thanks. I try. Let me just touch on, I remember last time you were saying that at the time you used to be on TikTok and then you had stopped using it because your friends were not really into it. And so you kind of internalized that, but then you were like, hey, I'm going to get back on it. And you've been on it. I really like the videos you make on TikTok. They're very funny and they make my day.
I try. Because that's what I admire about some of the people that are on social media. Like some of them are like they're Instagram models or they're chefs or they're people that are like doing brand deals. And I like that. That's all cool. But I like when you're on social media, you get to see these people that make funny content and it put a smile on your face. And especially during COVID, like you need that kind of thing. You need to have something uplifting. And the humor that's on Instagram, on TikTok, and I think now Snapchat, because Snapchat has like their own thing now.
Mm-hmm.
It's funny. Like you get to see all this funny videos, all this funny content, and it's cool because it makes you laugh. For example, sometimes I'll text my friends and they won't text me back for hours, and they will text me back, "Oh, I'm sorry, I was on TikTok, I was watching videos," I'll be like, "Okay, I understand that," because I do the same thing sometimes. Like sometimes I'll ignore people and like, "Oh, I'm so sorry, man. Like I was on TikTok, I was watching this dance video or this funny cat video or something." Like it's a thing now. It's a thing.
Wow. That's so funny. Like you're right on your phone and yet it comes in and you just ignore it. Wow.
No, and sometimes people will be like they'll text me, "Hey, stop texting me, man. I'm watching YouTube or I'm on TikTok, man. I'm trying to watch videos." Like, "Oh, I'm sorry, man." I
Wow.
mean, hey, it happens.
I've never been told that or had that experience, so I'm amused, but I get it. I do.
I know some of these people, they're very straightforward.
So when I first contacted you about doing a podcast, I was just thinking about the way relationships have changed. Personally, I felt like it's a little difficult to stay in contact with people and connect in ways that we used to, I should say. And then it just led me to thinking about the greater scheme of relationships and like what's right or what's not right, especially being in our 20s as relationships change so much. Maybe you've already started to notice like some people that you were friends with before are either not in your life now or they moved away. Some people are married with children. Some people are like things just change so much. So it's like an ever changing way of communicating with people. So yeah, I wanted to gear the topic around specifically relationships in our 20s and how making friends, dating, all that good stuff is just changing. And like the way you like to navigate that, the way maybe you've been navigating that, especially through COVID. Yeah. So that was kind of the topic that I had in mind. And I was like, Cris is going to be perfect for this.
Great. I'm glad to be a part of it. I'm honored to be a part of the topic because I am the kind of guy that likes to be out there and be sociable, at least to a good extent. Like not too sociable, but not too shy. Like right in the middle. Like I can like vibe and chill with everybody.
I imagine you've always been someone who likes to have a large group of friends around you. Is that right or is that not you?
That's more or less. It depends on the situation. For example, if I just want to go out and hang out with a small group of friends, just a few of us, go do something small, I go out and shop or go out and eat. Like I'll do that. But if I want to have like a huge group of people, or we're all just laughing, cracking jokes, some of my friends like we like to roast each other for fun. For that, you want a big group. You want a big group so we can just all go at each other. Like, we just know it's all fun and games, but we'll roast each other to some deep extent, and because we already know stuff about each other, so like we'll go to that point. But we all know at the end it's all fun and games. But it just depends on the situation. It depends on what we're doing. So some things you want a small group, and some things you do want a big group, and you got to know who you're with too. For example, when I make friends, I like to get to know the person first before I can really like call them my friend, because for all they know, like this person I just met, okay, they could be a little aggressive, or they could be kind of bipolar. They can be bipolar. They can switch in an instant, And sometimes with people like that, you have to know how to deal with them and how to navigate with them. Because you do or say something wrong, it could tick them off, and that could ruin everything for everybody. And especially right now with COVID, like everybody's always like, "Oh, let's go do something." You want to try and make the best out of the time you guys have, because who knows when's the next time you guys are going to see each other or hang out. So you don't want anything bad to happen. You don't want to have like a bad time because you said something wrong or you did something wrong with this person.
It sounds like you're particular about the people that you let into your inner circle. Do you have friends that you've had forever then? Are you that kind of person, like you just keep the same friends since kindergarten, that kind of thing?
Actually, a lot of my friends, I don't know, a lot of my friends from kindergarten, grade school, I haven't kept up with them. There's a very small handful of people that I have that are from my childhood. Um, right now where I live and here in the Valley, I did have one childhood friend that I grew up with when I was small. And I used to move around a lot. So time passed before I could see him again. About 2 years ago, when I moved back to the Valley, I came to live with my grandparents, and he still lives here. He's still my next door neighbor. It's not the same as before, but I'm still cool with him. Like we still talk and everything. I do have some friends that I used to be very close to when I was a kid, but they've moved away, so we've kind of parted our own ways. Like they went to go do their own thing. They have their own life. I have my own life now. So it is the same with some of my friends. I still do keep in contact with them, but it's a very small number. Like I could count on my hand how many people I have from my childhood, and I'm cool with that. I like to always make new friendships, get to meet new people. You know, you get to see all these different personalities and the kind of stuff that people do, you know, for jobs, for fun, everyday life. You get introduced to all these new genres of life.
So, what do you think is different about the relationships that you have now than when you were younger? Are there certain qualities that you look for in people that are different, or how's that?
From when I was a kid and now, I was pretty much the same. I would generally go with anybody. I would just play it safe to an extent where like I knew like, okay, they're cool. I don't have to worry about anything bad happening to them or them influencing anything bad on me. And I'm still the same way now. But it hasn't really changed much the way that I see people that I can be friends with. Actually, I always make fun of people when they first meet me, because this happens every time. I'll meet somebody, like for example, one of my friends will introduce me to one of their friends. And I'll be like, oh, you know, hello, my name's Chris. You know, how are you? They introduce themselves. I get to talk to them for a little bit. I'll generally hang out with my friend, but then also try and make time to hang out with the friend that I just met. Give it maybe 2 or 3 hours. This person that I just met will give me their whole life story. Like I will know everything about them by the end of the day, or at least a lot of important life matters that happened to them. And it's weird. I call it my blessing and my curse, because I get to meet this person and they get to know that I'm a chill person. Because I don't judge anybody at all. If you did something bad, you know, maybe you were in a bad time, you maybe had a good reason. I don't judge anybody at all for anything like that. But whenever I do meet somebody, they always tell me all about them, a lot about themselves. And I'm like, I call it a blessing because I get to know about them. I get to know who this person is. And then I get to realize, okay, this is a cool person. Like I can be friends with this person. Like I know how this person is or how they can be. Cool. Maybe this can be my friend. The curse side is that sometimes I know a little more than I should or that I would like to know. And because sometimes it's like, okay, maybe I should give it advice on this matter. It can be weird. It's a whole thing.
I don't know if you're big on observing the generations. I really like analyzing the different qualities of like the millennials, the baby boomers, you're in Gen Z. Do you notice qualities like what you just described, that open-mindedness and non-judgmental? Do you notice those qualities in your peers, people in your same Gen Z generation?
The open-mindedness I do in some of my peers. There's not a lot of them though. Here where I live here in the valley, in Imperial Valley here in California. And some of the people here, they tend to be a little close-minded. They tend to be close-minded and they're not really open to a lot of the ideas that people have. And that's why people are sometimes very, very strict on who they can trust and who they can be friends with. it really all just depends on the person themselves. Because we have the whole generation thing. I have, well, and through my work is where I really notice it more. The older people, the people that are a little older than me, like in their 30s, from the previous generation, you can tell they can be like they already gone through a lot of stuff. They know how to deal with life and how to act with it. People around my age, there are those kind of people that are like they're just all about fun, and there are those people that like they just want to work, and then there's those people that are just in between, like they'll work, they'll have fun, but sometimes they just want to chill. They don't want to really do much. And then there's a younger generation, which sometimes I'm scared of, at least here in the Valley, because the younger generation, from what I've seen, they're all just about drugs, drinking, the hookups. I mean, that's in my generation too, but I've seen it a lot more in the younger generation. And then sometimes they're like these kids, these guys and girls, and I'm like, they'll be like 15 or 16 years old, and they'll be over here looking like 20-year-olds. I'm like, my generation has changed a lot from this next one. Like, I remember when I was 15 or 16, I looked like I was a freaking 11 or 12-year-old kid. I still look, people tell me like, yo, you look like you're 17 or 18. Like, bro, I'm 20. Somebody literally told me that last night. They texted me, yo, how old are you? I'm like, I'm 20. Like, no, you're lying, man. You are not 20. Like, you are not 20. How old are you? I'm like, I'm 20. I'll show you my ID. And I had to send him a picture of my ID to prove that I was 20. I was like, bro, I thought you were like 17 years old. I thought you were 16 or 17. Like, bro, I have a baby face. I have a baby face. I have that young look. And then we started talking, but I was like, bro, like you don't know how to describe people these days. Like you could have, like I said, a 15, 16-year-old that's looking like a 20-year-old. It just gets really confusing. So the generations are changing a lot in looks, in the ways they act, in the ways they uh, take on their life. So it's really different now. It really is.
What do you mean by the way they take on their life? Do you feel like you have a different approach to life than maybe the 15 or 16-year-olds, the younger ones that you're thinking of?
I couldn't say outside of the valley because I've been here for a good amount of time. So I do know maybe in San Diego, where I used to live, there's a lot of different mindsets. That's for sure. But here in the valley, they're all pretty closely related. A lot of the people around my age, they're all a lot of hard workers like me. Like they'd like to go out and work, and they like to make sure they can continue their life. Like they save up money, they go to school, they have cars, or trying to get homes. They're just trying to have their own life already. Now there are the people who are younger than me, who are still in high school and everything, and like you want to help them pursue life. Like you want to help them grow up, especially now with COVID. You want to help them more than anything because it's going to be kind of tough later on. The world has changed completely. Nothing's going to be the same anymore. So you want to help prepare them for that. And sometimes they just don't want to do anything. Now that we're all always at home all the time, they just either want to be at home or just want to go out. They don't really care about the school anymore. They just want to go out and have fun. Here in the valley, they want to go drink, they want to go smoke, they want to do drugs, all that kind of stuff. And it kind of hurts for the older generation to see that, like myself. Because, I mean, I'm like some people my age, like back then, they would do that too. But it wouldn't be as much as it is now. There's so much free time with school being kind of limited and COVID and everything. People just take the chance to go do whatever they want. And sometimes it can have a bad effect on your life, all the stuff that they like to do. And that's why I'm always like I try to give them advice, like, maybe you shouldn't do this. Because trust me, like you're a few years younger than me, but when you get to my age, man, like it's not going to be easy. Like you're gonna have to go get a job. You're gonna have to keep doing school. You're gonna have to deal with a lot of people in your life that are gonna bring you down. Some will bring you up, but there's a lot of them that are gonna bring you down. And then I'll tell them, like, for example, the groups that they're with, I'm like, you should look out for this and this kind of person, but give them a little bit of time. They might turn their backs on you. They're not gonna be there for you. Right now, they're just with you because of what you have and what you can provide. But as soon as that's done, as soon as you can't provide anymore, or you don't have what they're looking for, they're gonna drop you. You need to see who you're going to be friends with. You need to know who's going to have your back. And you have to also make sure you have their back too. So I just try to give them advice on that kind of stuff. rather than them just going out and having fun. They should try and have a little bit of life lessons along the way. It's going to be really hard for them when they grow up if they just keep doing the stuff they're doing.
On what you just said right now about like being careful who you are friends with because they might not be there for you later, maybe there's kind of taking advantage of something that you have to offer right now. Are those things that you've noticed in friendships of yours that you can't really trust the people you're with or they don't stick with you, that kind of thing?
I have noticed that with my friends and with some of the friends of my friends too. About 3 months ago and before that, I was generally just all work. Like I would just stay focused on work, go work and then come home, do what I got to do at home, study a little bit and then go back to work. That was my general thing. After that, I got introduced to some of my uncle's friends and they were pretty cool. They were chill. And I was like, okay, I feel like I can trust this group of people. So I'll befriend them. Like I'll be friends with them. Uh, and I got to meet some of the friends that they have. Now, some of them are around my age and some of them are a little younger. And there's like a very few amount that are a little bit older than me. And I've seen the way how they react with each other. Sometimes all they want to do is just go smoke or go have a drink. I'm like, okay, you guys do you. I'll lay back, I'll just chill. But then I noticed that that's really just all they want to do. Like they just want to go do this and that because they know people that can provide, or they know friends who have like the hookups or like the people that have that kind of stuff. The smoking, the drinking, they have drinks, they have all that. And I always feel like they're just using them for that rather than just, oh, let's go hang out, let's go out and have some fun, go out and go take a walk, let's talk, go shopping, have some fun. Something that doesn't involve drinking or smoking. But it's always that. And I'm like, yo, I feel like this person is just like I have told some of my friends, this person is just using you. Like they're just using you because you have what they want. Like you have a link, you have somebody that has the stuff they want to smoke or the stuff they want to drink. And, or for example, you have somebody that's of age to go buy drinks and they can go buy for everybody. Like that's the reason why they just want to be with you, man. If you didn't have that, it would treat you a whole lot differently. They wouldn't have as much respect and they wouldn't have your back as much if you didn't have that. And I've told my friends some of that, and it's been the same way with me. Sometimes I've had to have gotten my friends out of predicaments where like they just want to fight somebody because of this and that. And I always have to tell them, don't do it. It's not worth it. Like you need to know like what you're dealing with or who you're dealing with because it's going to be a whole lot different. I will tell them, let's say you get into this fight with this one person. How's it going to end up afterwards? Like you guys might not talk. You guys might not vibe with each other anymore. You won't be chill. It's going to be a whole different thing. So it really is. It's to the point where I have to remind people, like, just watch who you're with. Like, I've known this person a little bit more than you have, or maybe not as much, but I can already see how this person's going to be. So just try and act yourself around them, but also don't give them too much trust. Because when you give somebody too much trust, it ends up biting you in the back.
Are there any friends that you don't feel like you need to have that guard up with that you can just totally trust and feel like they've got your back, you've got theirs, that kind of thing?
There isn't a lot. For me, my biggest thing that is for me, like my biggest trait for when I look into having friends with people, it's trust. Like it's very tough for me to trust somebody, and I have to get to know a person pretty well, or have gone through something to them before I can be like, okay, I trust you 100%. Like I know you have my back, and I have yours. If I need somebody to take a bullet for me, I know you would. Now, that's a very small number for me. Like there is people like I can trust like as a friend, but like just somewhat trust. People where I can trust 100%, it's a little rare. It's even come to the point where like on the side of my neck, I have the word trust tattooed on my neck. And people tell me, oh, why'd you get that tattoo on your neck? And I tell them, well, because for me, trust is a big thing. For some people, it's respect. For some people, it's loyalty. For me, it's trust. Now, for the people that I do trust, I have had to have gone through some things with them. For example, one friend that I met like 2 months ago, just met this person, and I met this person through a party that was being thrown at my house without me knowing. So that was weird for one part. I came home and there was people drunk, people smoking, people high. And I was like, what's going on? And the only person who wasn't high or drunk or anything was this girl that was at the end of my kitchen table. And she was the only one that seemed sober. So I was like, hey, I don't know you, but do you know what's going on? And when I had entered the house, she was like, hey, like, who are you? Like, why did you just enter like that? I told him, this is my house. Like, this is where I live. And she just started laughing. She was like, oh, I'm so sorry. I didn't know you lived. She was like, yeah, this is my house. And like, I made sure everybody was, because everybody went to leave already when I got here, but I told them, no, you guys are all staying. You guys are going to sober up. You guys are going to be, back to how you were before. And then when you guys are all good and clear-minded and everything, then you guys can go. I'm not letting anybody leave right now drunk or high or anything. And I saw that she was the only one that was chill. And I saw how she was reacting to everybody and she was taking care of everyone. And I was like, okay, cool. You're taking care of everybody. You're all good. So, because you took care of everybody when I wasn't here, I respect you for that. So, maybe I can befriend you. Like maybe I can be friends with you. And then as time went on, like I got to hang out with this person more. And I saw how they could be. They're honest, they're straightforward, and they seem like they can take care of somebody in case it's ever needed. And that's how I try to be too. I try to have people's backs and take care of them in case anything bad happens. And her and I have been through some things with other people as well, and we've got to know each other. So she is one of the people that I can trust the most. Like she's just a really cool person. She has the kind of personality that I look for in people that that I know I can be friends with and maybe be friends with for a long time. So yeah, and there's those kind of people that I look for when I'm looking for friends. It's that kind of person.
That's nice. I think when you see the way someone acts with other people, the way she was, as you said, in that situation, taking care of others, I think that shows you a lot about a person when you see not just how they act towards you, but how they act with others.
And I've noticed that too because she has gotten drunk and smoked before, but when people are like that, that's where you see their true side. And when I saw, she's more of a drinker, and when I saw how she was drunk, she wasn't those kind of people that are like just drunk and they pass out, or they're just like like a flirt or something like that. No, even when she was drunk, she was still taking care of people. Like she could have been like really like she could have been gone, but she would still see other people gone too. She's like, "Are you okay? Like, are you good? Do you have a ride home?" And I'm like, I respect that. That's really cool. Like you've had a lot to drink, but you're still out here looking for people. And okay, that's really cool. I respect that. You're the kind of person that I want to keep around because I know like if anything bad happens, you're still gonna be able to take care of me, and I can do the same to you. So it's really cool when you get to see somebody's true side.
So you've kind of said that trust is the big thing you look for in friendships. You want to build that and see that reciprocate. Is that something that you also look for in relationships? Or if you are pursuing relationships with people, does that just naturally tend to flourish after the friendship?
Well, relationship wise, it is different. Especially now with COVID, you can't go out and meet people like you used to before. Everything is through online, or if you do meet a person, you have to have the mask, the 6 feet apart kind of thing. So relationship wise, it is different. Um, and then the whole culture that we have right now, the culture has been built into this generation, the hookup culture, where it's not the same like before. People don't go out and be like, like guys don't go out and ask girls like, I like you. I want to get to know you. Let me take you out to dinner, or let's go on a date, or let's just go somewhere and relax, get to know each other. It's not the same anymore. It's just like a 2 a.m. kind of thing where they're like, "Hey, you up? And let me come through. Let's chill." That's the phrase now. Everybody uses. Let's chill. When a guy takes a girl, it's like, "Let's chill." It's pretty much like a Netflix and chill kind of thing, or like a booty call. It's not the same like before, where it was like old fashioned. Like I've tried to do that kind of thing, or like I'll tell people we should go hang out, let's go get something to eat, let's go take a walk, let's get to know each other more. And it's not the same like before. Like before, ladies and guys would be into that. You're like, okay, let's go do that. Now they're just more about the hookup, or like I said, it's more like the party generation too. Or like it's more party than getting to know each other. They just want to go party and have fun. Like I'll text a girl and I'll be like, let's go hang out, let's go do something. Like, no, I'm busy. I don't want to do that. I don't want to do this. But if I text the same girl and be like, yo, let's go drink or let's go smoke, she'll be like, I'm down. I'm there. Where's the address? Where we going? Let's do it. It's all about that now. It's no more about just meeting somebody and getting to know them. No, it's just about the smoking, the drinking, and the hookup. That's it. And I don't know if that's how it's going to be from now on. Hopefully not. I really hope not. It's definitely taking a weird turn when it comes to relationships, because now you don't know what kind of person you meet when you try to get into a relationship. Is this the kind of person that's like before, like old fashioned, where it could be a good thing, or is this a kind of relationship where it's not even a relationship, it's just a hookup, and it's really weird. Because of that, I've kind of taken a pause when it comes to relationships. So like I do still try, but it's kind of different, like because of the whole thing that's going on, the kind of people that you meet and how you get to know them. So, and for the trust part in relationships, I am a little strict on trust when it comes to friendships. I'm very strict actually when it comes to trust in relationships, because I mean a relationship, and with the whole hookup thing, you could be in a relationship for a week, and by the end of that week, you'll find out that the person you thought you were in a relationship with is hooking up with somebody. Now that destroys the whole purpose of a relationship. And they'll be like, "Oh no, we were like," and they'll say this thing. This irks me so much. You and I weren't even in a relationship. We're just talking. That kind of irks me a lot, because it's like, okay, so we've been around together a lot. We've been intimate, and we've pretty much trusted each other. And you're just gonna say we're just talking, which is like everything we've done pretty much defines a relationship. But they're just gonna say, "Oh, we're not in a relationship. We're just talking." Like I'm like, since when did that become a thing? Like, it's just a whole curveball. Like I don't know. Nowadays, everything is weird when it comes to relationships. I feel like that's why a lot of people they just stay single, or that's probably why the hookup culture got invented. Because this whole thing it's like opposite day with relationships, but every day. That's how I see it.
I imagine that in situations like what you just described, if you were even to, if the whole question is like, oh, well, we weren't really in a relationship because like you didn't say maybe, even if you were to define something and be like, we are dating, we are together, we are like a boyfriend, girlfriend, or whatever, someone else is still going to do whatever they want to do, regardless of titles. Like there's a lot of people who are not technically married and yet they've been together for years. Like it's just about what someone feels for the other person. It's not about titles, because you can be in a relationship or married and still cheat or still, maybe do things behind the other person's back. So it's less about what title you have and more about just the personality.
That's true. You also have to find a personality that matches you. So, like you said, I mean, you could be, regardless, like with no title, you guys could be a thing. But then again, this person could just go out and cheat or go do something that you generally wouldn't approve of in terms of boyfriend and girlfriend. But yeah, like you also have to look at that too. You have to look for a person who has the personality that you're looking for, and that can be tough sometimes. That can be kind of tough to look for. It's like a needle in a haystack. That's why people say that it's soulmate. It's a soulmate kind of thing. People say there's a lot of fish in the ocean, in the sea. My bad. There's a lot of fish in the sea. You just have to, I guess, find that right fish, that needle in the haystack, and it's tough.
I think it's especially tough at the age you're in, also the age I'm at. You being 20, I'm 26 at the moment. And it still feels like a lot of what you were saying, I can recall that happening too, where it just felt like who are these people? Everyone is just wild.
Oh
so
yeah.
so that's how friends started to kind of fall away from me, and it became a smaller and smaller group of people that I actually wanted to spend time with, who valued the same things I did and respected the same things I did. So hopefully it's not like this forever. I don't know about that, but
I hope
we
not.
just get maybe we just get better at being able to find the people we are meant to be with, whether those be friends or partners, whatever that might be. Do you want to know what my secret is to great pictures? I hope you answered yes, because I'm about to tell you. It's Pixlr. Pixlr is a web-based photo editor that has everything you need to bring your photos to life. Pixlr allows you to do all of the standard crop and brighten features, as well as include overlays, stickers, and filters to stylize your photos. Also tools to remove the background of your photos, liquefy and blur, sharpen or recolor aspects of your image. Pixlr can do it all. Even though the features are pretty advanced and stuff you usually can't even find outside of the expensive high-end editing software, you don't need to have any advanced photography or editing knowledge to use Pixlr. I also want to add that Pixlr is free for everyone, but their premium membership is where it's at. You get thousands of extra icons, stickers, overlays, and decorative text that you won't get on the free version. Plus, since Pixlr is a web-based server, Premium allows you to use it ad-free. I love Pixlr so much that I put together a special deal for you. If you sign up for a monthly or yearly service with my link in the show notes, you'll snag 25% off your subscription. If you don't like it, you can always cancel, but rest assured, this photo editor has everything you're looking for. Head to the show notes to grab my link for 25% off Pixlr today.
That's true. Like it's all struggles, to be honest, especially like when you're still growing up and everything. Like I'm in my 20s. I still have a lot more to learn. Like you said, you're 26. You've already gone through some things, but there's still a lot of stuff that can happen as you grow older. But all these struggles, they do help us become stronger. Like we learn from these mistakes, and we know what to look for in the future when it comes to meeting new people. Like we could find a person that we're trying to get to know now, and they maybe mess us up, or we mess them up somehow, and you learn from the mistake. Maybe 2 or 3 years later, you meet a person that kind of had the same personality, or you're in the same situation. You've already been through that. You already know how it could possibly go. So you either play it safe, or you're just like, no, I don't think I can do this. And you learn from those past mistakes, and you know how to deal with it in the future. And it is a struggle, but it does help you become stronger, and it does help you mentally. It helps you mentally and spiritually.
If we kind of go back to how COVID has affected things, how have you been able to maintain the relationships you've had or even form new relationships with people? How have you been navigating that in the whole COVID-19 situation?
Well, with the whole COVID thing, it's funny because I feel like a lot of the people that I've met, or some of the people that I've met and made friends with, has been through work. Like I said before, I work in McDonald's, and I do a lot of different positions. But the position that you have, where you generally communicate with the customers, is through taking care of the cash or giving out the food. Now, there's been times where I've had a lot of customers that come to McDonald's daily or like weekly, and I'll see them and they'll see me, and we recognize each other because I tend to wear like the same kind of like I have the uniform, but then I have like my hat customized. I have like these sleeves because I have tattoos, so they'll always see me, and because I have curly hair, so they'll always see me and be like, "Oh, you're that one guy. You always take our order. You always take our cash." And be like, "Oh yeah, I know you. You're the person that always orders this and that. Like it's always the same order." And I'll meet people like that. I'll meet people through that kind of thing. For example, there's this one old gentleman always comes to McDonald's every morning or sometimes at night. And everybody at my McDonald's that I work at, they love him. He always orders the same thing: a small coffee with one cream, one sugar. That's it. This man has the greatest attitude and personality I've ever seen. He's always like, it's like every day is like the sun is shining on him. He's always very happy. He's like, how are you doing? How are you? In a big, nice, uplifting voice. How are you, good sir? How are you, my young lady? How are you guys doing today? It's busy today, huh? It's very busy. He's always in a good mood. And anybody that serves him from my work, they're always in a good mood right after he leaves, all the time. And that's so. And I've met some people through that too. Like I've met there's one person that had like pink hair, so I was able to immediately like see her when she was in the drive-thru. I would immediately see who she was, and it had come to the point where she would sometimes come to McDonald's a lot. Like she would come one time, and then 10 minutes later she would come again to get food for her family, and then sometimes dessert after. And I would joke around with this person and be like, "Okay, I'll see you back in 20 minutes. 20 minutes, they'll be back." So it's just those weird kind of friendships and relationships that I build through work. That's one way that I have been able to. Another part is through some of my old friends, because since where I live, the valley, it's kind of small. So people know each other. People have contacts with each other. So sometimes I'll be on social media and I'll get somebody who befriends me, who sends me a friend request, or I'll send them a friend request. And then later on, we'll find out like, oh, you know this person or you know that person. Like, yeah, I know this and that person. I used to go to college with them, or I used to hang out with them, or they would say like, oh, I went to high school with them. Like, oh, I know this person too. And then from there, I would build a friendship. It would be through online, but at some point, like I would meet them out in the street or out in town when I'm running errands. Like, oh, you're that one person. Like, yeah, I know you're this and that. Like, no, we should hang out. We should go do something. Like, yeah, let's go. So it just depends. Like on with COVID and everything, it depends on where I'm at. One, I can make friendships and relationships through work with my coworkers or with customers, or I'll do it through online, through social media, or I'll meet up people and we'll have mutual friends or we'll have mutual interests. And then from there, I would make friends. So it's not that different from before COVID. It's just a little more safer with the whole 6 feet apart and everything else. But it's still like it's still manageable. Like you can still make friends. You just have to know how to keep it safe and make sure everybody is safe, healthy, and nobody gets sick.
It sounds like you still value making friends and connecting with people, and you have found ways that connecting with people, like you said, at your work, it's not always about the aim of making a friend. And sometimes it's like people just kind of pop in and it's like, hey, you're cool. And you connect with them in a way that you wouldn't have expected, that you weren't even planning.
Yeah, it's an odd curve, yeah, because I wouldn't have expected to make friends the ways that I am now. But it's still nice because it's always nice to have a friend there for you, especially in times like these where you're on your own, or like you're with family, but sometimes you want to be able to have a different person there rather than your mom, your dad, people you've already grown up with. You want to have somebody else, like a different perspective from somebody that you're still getting to know, or somebody you have known, or somebody that you can trust, like to be yourself around. So it is different, but it's still really nice to have.
That's a cool thing, what you just said. It's only happening when you meet new people that you get to also kind of see yourself through their eyes and get to know, as you're getting to know them, you kind of get to see what they see in you. If you're so used to being around the same people, whether those be your friends or your family, and you might not remember why you're so cool, why you're special, or things that you have to offer. But then you start talking to this new person and you're like, wow, like you learn through relationships, not it's not just about being with other people, but you also learn about yourself a lot through relationships.
Exactly. You get they get to tell you like the things that make you stand out, or some of the things that you might do that they're like, maybe you shouldn't do this, maybe you shouldn't do that. They look out for you. They look out for you and they help you become a better person. Whether it's like it can be a bad way or a good way. Maybe they try to take it easy with you, like they kind of tell you on the side, hey, maybe you shouldn't do this, maybe you shouldn't do that, or you're really cool at this, or you're good at that. Or it could be in a bad way where they just call you out. Be like, oh, I don't want to be with you because you do this and that. Whichever way it goes, it still helps you become a better person, or it helps you become a better you. Like maybe they said like, oh, I don't like how you're too nice, for example. I don't like how you're too nice and everything. And I'm like, okay, well, maybe I'm just not for you. Maybe I'm not the kind of friend you're looking for, because I may be too nice, but there's a lot of people in the world that they like that kind of thing. Like maybe you just like people who like to treat others bad. That's your thing. If that's your thing, cool. I'm still going to continue to be nice. That's my thing. Like, if you don't like it, well, you I can't do anything about it. I'm not going to change for somebody who likes to do things where I would see the long way. I'd rather be friends with somebody who likes to see things the right way, the correct way. And when you hang out with the right amount of people, sometimes it can help yourself too. For example, some of the friends that I've hung out with in the past month or so, I used to be very insecure about my looks and about how I would dress myself and how I would act. And then this group of friends came along and they would always compliment me on my looks, on the way I acted. Something that I always do on the side, I'll randomly dance for no reason. I'll be at work, I'll be at home, I'll be with friends. I will randomly dance for absolutely no reason, no music, nothing, just me dancing, vibing with myself. And they'll always call me out on that. They'll be like, what are you dancing for? I'll be like, I don't know, I'm just dancing. And they'll be like, that's cool. Like they'll like that. And it will help boost up my confidence and boost up my personality. Uh, for how I dress and how I look, they would always compliment me on that. They would give me all these kind of compliments. And I would be like, you know what? I never thought about that. Like I always thought like, maybe I should dress differently or maybe I should look different. And they would always be like, no, you look good. Like we love your hair. We love your style. We love how you look. And that would boost me up. It even come to the point where, for example, on my social media, like I'll post more selfies, I'll post more videos, I'll do stuff that I generally wouldn't do before, and it helped me become like, you know what, I'm not that bad. I'm good. I'm a good person. I just needed the right people to tell me, and I found those kind of people, and that's why I'm like, okay, these are good friendships. Like it may be hard right now with everything that's happening in COVID, but these are good people. Like I like these kind of people.
That's good. I'm glad you have friends who appreciate you. That's really swell. I did also want to ask, over the summer, I know you participated in the rally for Black Lives Matter. I've noticed that this is a thing that connects a lot more with the youth in particular. I feel like I mean, this is not, of course, to discredit anyone who's older and still values this and sees this as a problem here in our society, but I noticed that it has hit home with youth a lot more. Do you feel that youth in general, maybe peers your age, do you feel like there's a lot more like this open-mindedness or accepting nature, whereas maybe before, like people let differences stand in between them, and I feel like now differences aren't as isolating for youth. Does that make sense? I know that was a big question.
Oh, no, it's all good. I will say that with all the protests that have been going on in the past year, the youth have become stronger. And our generation, the future generation, the generation before us, like we've all bonded together through all these protests and through the tough times that our country has been through. And our voices are being heard a lot more than they would have been a year ago or years ago. There have been friendships that have come from that, at least from my part. When the Black Lives Matters movement was happening, and we had our own protests here in the valley, I I try to be a big part of it, or I even dressed up as Vendetta, V from Vendetta. Like I had the whole mask, I had a V for Vendetta sign and everything, and I went out. And I was like, you know what? It was my first protest too. I'm gonna go out and I'm gonna protest for something that I believe in. So I might as well try and make it big. Or I could like put on one of the symbols, the biggest symbols that have come from movie wise, from going against the government and going against the right beliefs, or sorry, the wrong beliefs. And when it came to that, I was able to meet a lot of people at those protests who shared the same ideas, who shared the same beliefs, And we were able to bond together and show that even though our place is small, our city, our valley is small, we are strong in numbers and in spirit. After the whole protest happened, I was able to befriend one of the the people in charge of the committee for the Black Lives Matter movement here in the valley. And then months later, I saw that my friend was part of this group, this brand that I believe is stationed in LA. I'm not 100% sure, but this clothing brand who stand for Black Lives Matter, who have been doing that for years. And their motto or their approach is that they sell clothing, but all the money that they make from the clothing, they donate it directly to Black Lives Matter organizations or charities that are there to help the Black community. And I really stood for that. And I thought, you know what? Let me try and let me contact these people. I want to be a part of this because this is something that I strongly believe in. Because no matter the skin or the background you're in, you should all be there for each other because we're all human. Like and I'm Mexican, so I have my own racial backgrounds where it was tough for me at times, and I have friends who are African American or they're Black Americans, and I know they've been through some hard times too. So I like to help support that. From all that, I was able to build a friendship with people who are in charge of that here. I was able to build a friendship with this clothing brand, with the CEO and everything, and help him being able to bring people into this. And I don't know if this is in relation to the topic, the podcast, but we're trying to help people get to know this brand, and hopefully here in the Valley, more people will know about it so we can help donate to the Black Lives Matter organizations. I don't know if that's straight far from the question that you asked me. So if it did, let me know.
It sounds like you've just made a lot of connections by being involved in things that matter to you. You've been able to connect with other people, and like you guys are all bonding together over these shared interests. And not to mention, obviously, by wearing the clothing, you're spreading the message also.
Yes. Yes, we're trying our best to help spread awareness for it. And if it wasn't for the protests, I may not have met as many people as I did, who I feel like at that moment when I looked all around me and I saw all the people that was there for the protest and there for the belief and the movement, I was like, this is like one big family. Like these are people hiding in their own lives, like they're out in the streets or they're out working or they're doing their own thing. But when the time came for all of us to be together, we all came together. It's like one big family that was there. So, it was a really cool thing to see everybody else who has the same belief as you do. It was really cool.
Having had that interaction with others, it becomes something that you're aware of, and you start to use that as one of those things that you look for in future friends or people that you meet, like, hey, I wonder how this person is. Like, not like, are you a racist necessarily, but kind of wondering, like, what do you value in that way? Are you willing to stand up for your fellow human? You kind of start to think about that also.
Yeah, it definitely adds on to the list of what to look out for in a person. But it's not something like that you're 100% like, oh, do you need to do this? Or else like, I can't be friends with you. Or you need to believe in this. Or else like, I can't be with you. Perfect example would be the 2020 election that we just had. Here in the Valley, there's a lot of people who were pro-Trump and there was a lot of people who were pro-Biden. And there was a lot of people that were against each party. Now, it is the Valley and we're by the border. So there were a lot of people. Majority of the community is Hispanic. So there was a lot of people who were against Trump. And from my point of view, I generally, like, if you're a pro-Trump or pro-Biden, I really care because that's just the president thing. That's the politics. I'm not really big into politics. But like, if you're pro-Trump and you want to vote for him, okay, you do that. You want to vote for Biden? Okay, go vote for Biden. But I'm not going to judge your whole character and your whole personality on just your vote. There was this one girl that posted on Instagram that she had posted like about her voting for Trump and being pro Trump and this and that. And I was like, okay, cool. That's your belief. Cool. You go do that. Now, a week after that happened, there was this Instagram group and they had reposted her picture from her account on their account, which I'm pretty sure that's not allowed unless you have like the okay from the person. And they were pretty much calling her out. And it came to the point where she had to file a police report for them doing that. And she was pretty mad about it. And I told her like, hey, like, I saw your post too. And I know you voted, like, you're going to vote for Trump. But like I said, like, I told her we shouldn't be judging people because of who they're voting. Like, that's their own decision. Like, we're not inclined to give our political point of view. So like, for me, I'm just here to tell you, like, you know what, like, I support you as a person. Your vote, that's your thing. So from at least me, like, you have no hate, no disrespect, nothing. If anything, like, I support your decision, and going against this Instagram page, this group who are calling out people, because that does not feel right. That isn't what they should be doing. If that's what they want to do, well, they need to go find something else better to do. And she agreed with that. She was like, you know what, that's true. Like, we shouldn't be out here judging people because of their decisions. Like, that's their own thing. That's their life. So we shouldn't have to meddle in their life because that's their own thing. We have our life. They have theirs. They have their decisions. We have our own. It's how it should be.
That's a really good perspective about not letting, even though there are some things that maybe you want to take into account when you're making connections with people, there's also that really important facet of just respecting them as a human and letting the rest be what it is. As long as you guys can respect each other as being humans, then that's what matters.
Exactly. That's what I try to go for when I meet people. As long as you respect me as a human, and I respect you as a human, and we're both pretty similar. We're both the same being. No, we should be fine. Just keep an open mind. That's it.
Okay, let me start to wrap this up with, I think I've probably asked you some of these questions before. So maybe you're going to have fresh answers, though. If I remember correctly, you said that your sun sign is Capricorn, right?
Yes, my sun sign is Capricorn.
How connected do you feel to that? I remember you saying that you didn't really even know what that meant. Have you connected to it a little bit more?
I didn't back then. I do now. I have looked more into the whole zodiac thing. I even got the sign tattooed on my finger. Yeah, I got it tattooed on my middle finger last week. So I was like, okay, like, I'm pretty connected to the whole Capricorn thing. The hard-headedness. I can be stubborn sometimes. The whole work ethic. I do like to work a lot. And the business mindset. I am, or I generally have been more business mindseted these past few months. So I feel like I do fit the whole Capricorn personality. At least what's been given by the zodiac. I think I do fit it perfectly.
That's so cool. What is the best piece of advice that anyone has ever given you?
I've gotten a lot of advice in the past few years. Best piece of advice. I'd say it's be yourself. Be yourself and don't judge others for what they have done. The person that told me this, I believe, was my mom a few years ago. She told me that, and I have tried to live up to that. I try to be myself every day. I may change myself to adapt with the people I hang out with, but not too much to the point where I completely change myself. I would never do that. I would never try to do that. And not judging anybody by what they do. I live up to that every day. Like I said, I'm open-minded, and no matter what decision a person has done or what they've done in the past, I try not to judge them on that. I try to keep myself based on what I know from them and what I will know about them. Because, what's done in the previous life or back then, that's their thing.
What is a book, a podcast, a movie, or any resource that you would like to direct people towards that has inspired you?
I'm always inspired by comedy. I always like seeing funny content, funny videos. I always love watching comedians. So for me, it would be humor, and who I would direct would probably be Kevin Hart. I really look up to Kevin Hart because, he's real. He has a lot of life stories, and there's been a lot of stuff that's happened to him in the past, in his past, that people can really learn a lot from. And he's true. He sticks to being honest, like, to the point where, like, he doesn't care if he is being recorded or anything's going on. Like, he'll cuss, he'll be true, he'll tell it as it is, And he does give a lot of inspirational quotes, and he does do a lot of inspirational acts, supporting people, giving to charity, being there for someone. He's really good at that. And there was this one other person, a TikToker who's pretty well known, but I can't remember his name. But I really can't remember his name. But from what I've seen, he does also give a lot of inspiration, at least to the youth. He tries to tell them, like, you should do, like, if you want to have a good life, you want to do this, you want to do that, you should know that at a young age, 'cause he's like in his 50s, I think. At a young age, you're gonna struggle. You're gonna struggle a lot. You're gonna have to eat unhealthy sometimes if you want to save up for your money. You're gonna have to go through a lot of hardships and relationships and friendships. You're gonna have to go through all that. But if you keep striving and you know the path you want to be on, the older you get, you will see that you will become successful. And he has gone around the country. It's like his TED Talk kind of thing. I don't think he's ever had a TED Talk, but like at these conventions that he goes to and he's a part of, he always does talk about that kind of stuff. And again, like Kevin Hart, he's very straightforward to the point where like he's not ashamed to cuss because he's just being himself. He's being true to himself and to what he believes in. And I respect that.
Maybe you can find his handle or his username and send that to me and I can include it.
For sure, yeah. I'll look for it after this and I'll send it to you.
Cool. Those are some good resources. Yeah, I like that. I like that so much. And I think everything you've shared today has been so cool. So definitely let people know where they can find you, where they can check you out online.
I feel like Instagram would be the best way. So my handle on Instagram is Cris Album, CRIS _ and then the word album, ALBUM. I try to post as much as I can there, at least on my story. And I am trying to post more on my Instagram posts. So I am there a lot. If people ever want to talk to me, they can message me through there. Or if they would just want to, I don't know, maybe collab or something, I'm always down for a collaboration. They can go through there too. TikTok, it's the same exact username. But as soon as I have more free time, I will go back to, trying to make funny content, funny videos, and, try and bring smiles to people's faces and hear them laugh. Say, like, for example, how you said, like, you look forward to my TikToks and how they're funny. That's the kind of stuff I love to hear. I love to hear that, knowing that, okay, I'm on the right path. I'm doing the right thing. Got to keep going.
Yeah, for sure. Everyone needs to go follow him if you don't already. Or if you don't have a TikTok, go get a TikTok and then follow him.
I appreciate the shout out.
Well, thank you, Cris, for meeting with me today and chatting all things relationships. This has been so fun and fulfilling.
Thank you for having me. I'm very honored. Hey, second time on the podcast, 2 for 2. This is exciting.
Yeah.
It's very exciting.
Yeah, you're special.
Hey, I'll take that. I'll take it.
For anyone who's just itching to know who that inspirational resource that Cris spoke about, I've got his name. So Cris mentioned Kevin Hart as one, and then he said someone else from TikTok, and that someone else whose name escaped him was Gary Vee. I've actually heard so much about Gary Vee. He's basically a huge trailblazer in his field and just so full of insight from being an entrepreneur. I follow him on Instagram, but his TikTok is also amazing. So in case anyone was just like on the edge of their seat and wondering who this person was, or was it just me? Maybe it was you too. Anyway, what parts resonated with you in this episode? I would love to hear. I really liked the part where Cris and I spoke about how, on the most fundamental level, just connecting with someone who respects you as a human, being able to respect each other as being humans, how that's pretty key. We might have different beliefs, but if we can remember that we are all just human beings, it makes connection happen much more easily. I also want to say that I like being able to share perspectives on here from all different walks of life, people of different ages and backgrounds. Everyone has a really cool mind, And we might not remember that when we get so caught up in looking at our differences, but it's a really beautiful thing when you can see yourself in someone else, because we are all each other. We are all one. I hope you enjoyed today's episode. If you did, then be sure to subscribe wherever you like to hear your podcasts. You can also like the Make It Happen podcast Facebook page or follow the Make It Happen podcast Instagram. Links to both will be in the show notes. And if you feel so inclined, head over to iTunes and leave a review for the podcast. I know the iTunes app is likely only a click away on your phone, so go click the button, go leave a review. It will mean so much to me. Plus, it will help the show grow and reach new ears. And with that, I'm signing off. Remember to check out the links in the show notes to connect with myself or Cris, and to get more info about anything referenced in today's episode. Thanks for joining me. Make sure to subscribe, and I'll catch you guys next week. Bye!